Hi, and welcome to the Corporate Warriors podcast. My name is Fela, and in this episode, we are talking about how to make major life and career decisions. And we're going to do it by the case study of my own career and life at this point in time. So it is for you if you have to make a major decision in your career or your life and when you get inspired on how you can approach the decision making. It is for you if you're nosy just like me and you want to learn why I made the decision to actually change the podcast rhythm to bi-weekly. And also, if you want to get to know me better, this episode is perfect for you because you can see how I am currently managing my life and career and what you can take from that. So stay tuned for this decision-making process that I'm going to take you on with me. So here's the short life update. I already announced it on the social channels that the podcast is now only going to be bi-weekly. So why was that a decision that I had to think about longer? So for me personally and professionally especially, consistency is a very important part of my success factor. So for me, it was detrimental to really be here each and every single Wednesday and release a new podcast episode. I thought I owe it to myself and to the community to stay consistent to what I've promised. So reconsidering even in itself was a tough decision for me. So why did I do it then anyways and started with this week to only release episodes on a bi-weekly format? So the most important thing and the reason why this shift took place is that something major happened in my life. And I recently became a mom. I became a mother. So this is a whole new role that I have been taken on in the last few weeks where I've been learning and growing a lot. And obviously this has a huge impact also on my professional life. So this maternity, I'm so blessed. I had this planned for a long time. Since I was a child, I think I always wanted to be a mom. So I was super happy and proud that everything worked out fine and we have a beautiful baby boy. And yeah, now going back and taking a look at what I'm doing in my business, I do need to reconsider some things. And I know I could have continued with the podcast on a weekly basis, but I needed to ask the really tough question, which is, does it make sense right now to invest that time here? Because everybody, even Elon Musk, we all just have 24 hours in a day and we need to make sure that we invest it where we really want to do it. So in the next step, I'm going to share with you how I made this evaluation for myself on which I based this decision. First of all, as usual, which if you follow me for a while, I say all the time, I always stay with the vision for my dream life. This is really important for me. And I always repeat it. Always start with your life. You don't want to start with your career. That's something I did in my past, and it's not helpful because your career is supposed to be a part of your life. There's so many more parts of your life and to who you are than your career. So let's start with the vision for your life. What kind of life do I want to live? That's the question I ask myself. And as said, the career should fit into it. So I have taken another look at the big vision that I had to create my dream life. And I was reevaluating, is this vision still true? And I found for myself that my vision for my dream life is the same for now over 5 years. And yes, it is still the one that I am clinging to. It is the same vision board that I have been watching for over 2 years now since I made it final. I printed it out. It's all really nice and clean. And I want this to be my dream life and I'm working actively on building it. So in order to get there, obviously the career has been playing a major part. But I needed to become clearer on my career goals and understand what I like to do in business. Because again, time is limited. So what do I like? In my case, I love doing the coachings. I love leading. I love business development and working on my business because I really have a big mission here. I think it's very important what I plan to be doing, what I started to be doing. And this is really something that matters to me. So I want to pursue it more and make sure that I use my time in the best to my abilities. And having taken a look at the career goals and my life vision, I realized one major thing. And it's that I would rather have the business success kick in a little bit later than having any regret about my time with my little baby boy. So it's not about changing my career goals. It's not about changing anything in my dream life that I want to build, but it's about thinking about the timeline. What matters right now and what matters in, let's say, 50 years, looking back. In 50 years, I will not care if the business success took me 2 years or 5. But what I would definitely regret is if I didn't spend enough time with my baby boy, if I did give him straight away to a nanny 24/7, that is something that I very, very likely would regret. It's just something that I feel strongly about. I want to spend this time with my baby. So this is a major finding that already shifted everything in the decision-making process. So in the next step, I want to take you on the variables that I considered. And those are no fixed variables. So each and every person has their own decision-making variables that matter to them. So I just want to take you through my variables that I needed to consider in order to make the right decision for myself. So the first thing that I asked myself was, what is the worst regret that I do not want to feel? And as you've already heard, it's not having spent enough time with my children. That is the worst regret that I could feel. And in addition to that, also not having tried to go after my big dreams. So those are two regrets that I never ever want to feel in my life. And I'm proud to say that I'm actively already working against that. So I think I'm on the right track here. And the second decision-making variable that I took into consideration is my personal hierarchy of values for my life. And I want to focus on what truly matters to me the most. So this is obviously a reduced version of values. I do have many, many more values, as you can imagine, but I was trying to make it really clear and easy here. And with the values, what is really important is that it needs to be a hierarchy, because values can be conflicting. And this is something else that we can talk about in another podcast if you're interested in. But right now, it's just important to know that not only knowing what values is important, but knowing the hierarchy, what is the most important one, second, third, fourth, and so forth. So for me personally, my number one value is family. And this obviously includes my own baby. So this is top priority number one. The second one is health. Mental and physical health, because I know that if you're not healthy, you cannot enjoy life, you cannot pursue your dreams. It's just really, really important. You can also not be there for your family or enjoy family time. So really, health is the second biggest value. Third is the financial stability, and fourth is the career and business success. So with this value hierarchy, it already becomes pretty clear what the decision is going to look like. The next variable that I took a good look at when evaluating this was the business focus. So for the limited time that I have now for my business, where should I focus? Where should I put my effort? Where should I put my energy? And I love the podcast. I love talking about those topics. I think it's really, really important to get those topics out there. And in addition, I know that it's also important because it will help you get to know me better and what I stand for. However, I already put a lot of effort in it. There are over 30 episodes of this podcast already, if I'm not mistaken. And this is not my core business. My business is not being a podcaster. So it's really important for me to reconsider how much more time do I want to invest right now in this moment in my life where I have only limited resources. And therefore, I want to make sure that the most of the time is spent really at the core of my business. Next is the flexibility and consistency. So both, as said, are really important for me. Consistency specifically. Consistency and to some degree also persistence are things that brought me really, really far in my career and in my life. And the first thing is I don't know how things will turn out. So I want to make sure that I stay pretty flexible in my business endeavor. And I also, in addition, want to be sure that I can stay consistent in the future. I don't want to jump back and forth with my decisions all the time. So the real question is really, again, how much time can I spend on the podcast per week realistically while staying flexible so that if I have one more client or two more clients, I can still manage that. I don't have to say no to clients because of the podcast. And how can I schedule it so that it becomes my new consistent routine that I am able to fulfill? All right. So to sum up, my personal decision-making variables were to avoid regrets, like what are the biggest regrets and how can I make sure I avoid them? What is my value hierarchy? What is the focus of my business really? And what degree do flexibility and consistency play in this decision? Now, obviously, there are way more factors that you could include in your decision making. So for instance, I just list a few, but obviously there are many more, and use your creativity and take a look at your life and what matters to you, and you'll find out what the decision-making variables should be. But you could be including profitability and finances, ethics, existing partnerships and obligations of contracts that you've already signed. It could be a work-life balance target that you might have set for yourself. Another variable could be your support system, growth opportunities, etc., etc., etc. So really don't restrict yourself and take as many variables on as you consider relevant for yourself. And then do the same thing. Evaluate each variable. How can you make sure that this variable, this part is going to be a success within the realm of your decision making? And then bring them all together. Ideally, you can also put them in a hierarchy, and then you can figure out what decision is the right decision for you. And considering all of those factors, for me, it became really evident that even though I hated the idea of not being consistent, of changing the schedule to bi-weekly, I knew in my heart, and I knew based on my decision-making variables, that this is the right thing to do right now for this moment in my life. So considering that, you might feel that I am still a little bit uneasy with thinking about being not consistent. So how can I make peace with my decision now? On what did I do? What is the mindset shift that it took for me to be able to make these kinds of impactful decisions in my career and private life? So perhaps you know, but I'm an impatient person. I know there are many people out there that are impatient because we're so used to getting everything now straight away as quickly as we can. And of course, if you'd ask me, of course I want my business to be a multi-million-dollar business within a few weeks of opening up. But that's just not reality. And that's fine because it's part of my journey. It's part of everybody's journey who's having a career, having a business, building a dream life, building an ordinary life even. Heck, it takes time, it takes commitment, and it's okay because that is literally our life's growth journey that we go through. This is why you can only be wise when you're old, or at least most of the people can only be that. So I recognize, and I needed to accept this, there's a right timing for everything. There's even a right timing for consistency. So for me personally, spirituality helped me a lot in that I can accept that sometimes things can take longer. And because I do not know the divine timing, I do not know my life's plan. So I need to have a basic level of trust and let go of the illusion of being able to control every single thing, right? But I need to trust that everything will be fine as long as I always do my best. So everything will be fine in divine timing for me doesn't mean I just sit back and relax and don't do anything because everything will just come to me. That's not my vision. It's not my type of spirituality, how I see it. I still do my things. I still go out there. I still manage to record this podcast having literally a newborn, fussy newborn, by the way, right now. So yeah, that is really important for me to still do the things, to manifest and to do at any given time the best that I can, to do the best to my abilities and not just to wait and see what happens. So knowing that and doing that, I can make my peace with it because I do my very, very best. And for the rest, I just leave it up to God, the universe, whatever it is, destiny, karma, whatever you prefer. But this is how I made the peace with my decision. And this is why from now on, this podcast is only going to come bi-weekly. I hope you still enjoyed the episode. I hope you could take something from it. I know decision making is a big, big part in every career and life plan because there's so many important decisions that we need to take. So it's great to have an idea of how you can approach decisions in general. If it was helpful, please like and subscribe the channel. It would be really a big deal for me if you did. And if you want, come put some thoughts in the comments and I'm happy to get into discussion with you. Hope to see you next time. Good timing.